What people don't realize clearly, can't see clearly, is that our battle is a spiritual battle between good and evil. The Christians don't see this. And it's because they have not entered into that kingdom of heaven within. And in that kingdom, there is another way of seeing things, another way of seeing things. And when you enter into that kingdom, the first thing you start to realize is that your desires start to change. Your desires is now, you start to overcome the desires of your ego, that desire that is of the devil, that nature that's of the devil. Because when you notice before you enter in, your desires, even if you are a Christian and you read the Bible, your heart is still set on the outer world. What's it, you want to be smart, you want to be in the know, you want a lot of money, you want to control, you want this, you want that. And you say you don't, but your drive is always about to get whatever it is that desire is of yours. And it does nothing but cause conflict for you. Have you noticed that? The more you try to get it and the more you think you have it, it never brings peace, it brings conflict. Because that's where your heart is. And God said that where our heart is, that's what you're going to get back, right? But what I realize is that Christians don't realize that they are not the issues that happen in life. Like whatever challenge you have to go through, that is not you. It's just something that has come to you and you're dealing with it. And if you could see that it has nothing to do with who you are as a person, a spiritual person on the inside of this body, it is not you at all. And if you can clearly see that, then you don't judge your situations right or wrong or anything. You don't get mad at the situation. You are able enough to stay calm, as someone mentioned, and overcome it, see it through, work it out, because you're not mad about the situation. You're not mad if your husband is out of control or your wife is out of control. You're not angry if you don't have money or you lack money or things are not going the way you think they should go, because you are not identifying with your situations. It's just a challenge in life. It has nothing to do with you at all. And that way you don't become judgmental of yourself. The only reason that people judging themselves is because they identify with the problem. In real life, there are no problems. They don't exist. It's just an illusion. But unless you're born again and you're separated from this ego nature that's made a home inside of you, you think there are problems and you're overreacting to your problems. God doesn't even remember our sins. Once we apologize, he forgets about them, but your ego reminds you of them, and your ego is that of the devil. That's the nature that made a home in you. And you don't know this unless you could be separated from it by being born again of a new nature. You are not your situations. And if you're not, there's no reason to be mad. There's no reason to put yourself. Then you can count it as joy when things come, because you know now you're going to be made better from it. As a matter of fact, that's how you know your relationship with God. Because now all of a sudden, you don't judge good or bad. You don't hate somebody for what they have to go through. You don't identify with them just because they're taking a little longer to overcome it. You're able to treat them in the way that God has treated you, with perfect love. Absolutely perfect love. And when you don't identify with things as problems, you cannot judge. You can't judge it as right or wrong. You become the observer of life and not the creator, not the controller. It's like you let go. Once you're born again, you let go and let God. So there is no judgment because you know that you're not God. Because what you believe in is what believes in you, and that's what controls you. And that's why you get angry when it doesn't work out or go your way. You got to be born again. You got to be separated from that identity, that ego nature that is not you, so that you can no longer identify with the world around you. God said, be in it and not of it. Then your desires start to change. It's interesting in that God, and then I'll take some questions. God said, seek first the kingdom of God in his right way, and all things will be added to you. He doesn't want you to desire those things. He wants you to desire what's right first. I can't even get, I think Patrick mentioned the prayer. I can't get people to pray every day. If you're not putting what's right first, then something else will control you. And you're just going to suffer unnecessarily until you realize my priorities are out of order. And you can know if they are because you're being controlled by things around you. Somebody else can get you mad, that's your God. Because why should someone else, whether it's your husband or your wife or your kids, if they're not your God, why should they get you angry? If your treasures are not laid up in them, how can they get you angry? You have nothing to lose. That makes sense?
Yes.
But as most Christians do, even though they name and claim God, other things are still more important. God is not important because their action says it. Your treasures, your desires are in the wrong things. Your spirit is not connected to his yet. I'm telling you, and when he disconnects you from that world, from that ego, there's nothing on earth that can move you anymore. You treat the world the way God treats you, with honesty, love, and truth. They're all the same with that. But most people don't have love. 99.99999% of the Christians don't have love. And that's why they're suffering. There is a suffering that comes with being a Christian. You know, the world try to get you, they hate you because you're a good example, but that doesn't bother you inwardly. This other suffering is because you have not been born again yet. You're still connected to that ego nature, that sin nature that made a home inside of you. That's why you have fear and doubt and worry, insecurities and all that. Even when people get sick, they identify with their sickness. They'll go around and name it. What's wrong with you? Oh, I have osteoporosis. You know, they identify with it instead of just seeing their body being weak. You know, the body's being weak right now, but it's not who you are. Then you can overcome this stuff. We've been trained to be this way, by the way. Yes. We've been taught intellectually to identify with everything, when God tells us not to identify with anything. But we've been trained to be intellectually smart, learn all you can learn the Bible, go to school to be a Bible preacher, just learn, and all you have is the knowledge of good and evil, and you can't help anybody. That's why God said we have to go dumb. Isn't that amazing? You're connected to the pride of the deceiver, the pride of the devil. And he made you believe that, oh, this is a problem, whole pity for me. As this man said, I had sex before marriage and I'm still feeling guilty about it. That's ridiculous.
Yes.
You know, it's evil because it brings unnecessary suffering. It's not going to make him righteous by holding on to all this stuff. He's not going to become a better person for it. Now, I do want to tell you how to get to being that better person for it, because there is a way to do it. And this is really what parents should be doing, fathers and mothers. They should be a living example for us, for children, our children, us as children, so that when we go out into the world, we're not easily deceived. But what parents do, most parents, they set you up by causing you to become angry. They're not of love. The parents are not of love. They're of their father, the devil, too. And so they pass that on to their children by being impatient, by not being honest, by not sharing things with them so they can understand. And so they go out and they start to overreact to things because they're angry in their homes. And there's no love. And God said if you don't have love, it means his love, not this love that you can feel. That love that you can feel is nothing. It's of the ego, it's selfish, it has nothing to do with anything that's good. But a love of truth, you guided by that, And parents don't have it, so they don't explain to their kids. They set you up so the world can come in and destroy you, wipe you out. It's too bad, too. Because all they're doing is setting their ego up to, as they get older now, they're going to think, well, Dad and Mom gave me all these things. They told me I needed education. They did this, and now that's becoming their God. And when they don't live up to that, they feel like failures, and they have to take pills to survive, and They are depressed and all that because the wrong God has been set up for them. And that's a problem. That is a real problem. You know, I was thinking about, it's too bad. I mean, I don't know if it's too bad. No, it's not too bad. It's interesting that Christ came and everything has been reversed. We have a way out. We don't have to suffer like this kind of suffering. And yet most Christians are suffering. It's like, you know, it's like the Christ came and we are free, but we don't know we are free. We're not being taught how to accept that freedom and live that way on earth. It's just so unfortunate. It's really unfortunate because in not being the light, in not understanding this, you're not like a light of the world. And so people are not coming to say, how do I come to God? What's up with you? You know, people are not coming because the light is not shining. There's nothing that's drawing the people, unto God. And that's why the world is winning. They now can teach their kids that homosexuality is normal, even in the beginning of school now. Just any kind of stuff you want to do, because if you really, really be honest, you don't really know the Christians who are not suffering. Their lives are messed up. And we got to be honest about this so we can get on the right path. Christ has already made it, so all we have to do is relax and accept it. And we can live this life I'm talking about. In short, I have a minute left here. First of all, you got to know that your resentment, your anger, no matter how much you know the Bible, doesn't matter how many times you go to church, how much money you give, your anger is separating you from this other life. You can think that you have just a little bit of anger left. You're deceiving yourself. Any anger separates you from God because it's not of God. And it causes you to live in a different reality in darkness. God said that in order for us to enter into the kingdom of heaven, we have to forgive first. All you have to do is know that you're an angry person and that you're wrong. If you could just know that without judging yourself, then the rest will start to take place. But the problem is that denial is so quick that a lot of people won't let the pain of knowing that they are angry and wrong to set in. You know what I'm saying? They'll say, they'll deny at first. I work with people, and they're supposed to be like holy people, but whenever I catch them doing wrong, they deny first, and then I say, why are you denying it? You're supposed to be conscious. And then they say, oh yeah. That's not the way it works. You gotta be honest enough with yourself so right then and there you can see that you are wrong before any excuses or denial can creep in. To deny it to admit it after you deny is doing you no good. It's not helping you change at all. You gotta see it right then and there because it's a twinkling of an eye that brings on the change. And some people will say, oh no, I was doing this for that reason. And then I say, well, you were wrong though, what? Oh yeah, I was wrong. It's too late. You just put it off for another time. So you gotta see that you're angry. You gotta admit that you have anger in your heart because you're separated from God with any anger. And you can tell if you have anger because you're overreacting to your environment, your outer environment. You use excuses. You get mad at somebody else when you see that they're wrong. You know what I'm saying? So that shows that you have anger and separated from God. Then when you pray, you gotta just sit still, be quiet, shut up, and know the truth. Just be quiet. You don't have to be begging God for anything because you don't know what to ask for anyway. 99% of the time when you ask God for something, it's all ego. It's selfish. Even when you ask God to save mama, how do you know God want mama to be alive, Maybe God want mama to go on so she can stop destroying everything else around her, or daddy or whomever. You ask God to let his will be done for daddy and for mama and for your kids because God knows their heart better than you do. So that's why he doesn't want you praying that stuff because you don't know what to ask for anyway. You may be praying for the devil. So what he wants you to do is to just be quiet and let the truth catch up with you so he can start changing your life. Allow you to see. I once was blind, but now I see. When you can let go, accept reality, let go, he'll come in and change your life. then you start waking up to everything. And the more you learn about yourself, the easier it is to understand the world around you. As John was saying, you then stop judging other people too. Yes, you deal with the issue. You don't deny the issue, but you just don't hate other people for what they're going through. You're able to totally not judge them or judge yourself. So you got to get over your anger by admitting that you're wrong and just seeing it. Just know in yourself that you are an angry person. Whether it's a little anger or big anger. Anger is of the devil, separate you from God. God is perfect love. And when I say perfect love, I mean a love that is not emotional, a love that does not judge. Only he can judge good and evil. And you just be quiet and live your life. Just don't judge. Just deal with the issue. But you are not your problems. There are no such things as problems for men and women of God. It doesn't exist. It's an illusion. But because you're angry, you're lost in darkness, and you think that there are problems. Christ has solved all our problems. He's made it possible. He wants you to just live it and not let anything else be your guide. That makes sense?
Yes.
And you can't do this on your own. You got to see that you are not God and there's nothing. You can't even make yourself forgive. Did you know that?
That's right.
Just think of how many times you said to people, oh, I forgive you, I'm sorry. And you turn right around and do the same thing over again or overreact again. You, of yourself, you could do nothing. You just need to see that you're no good. You're an angry person. And don't be mad about being an angry person. Right? Just learn to be quiet, go in your prayer closet, shut up, and let the truth catch up with you. And believe me, if God can cause me to see this, anybody that wants it can see it. So go to bondinfo.org or call 800-411-BOND. We also provide counseling too by phone and in the office. Thank you. Thank you guys.